Suji had nothing to his name, not even a surname, and the only thing he had was his first name. However, no one even bothered to use it. He was ridiculed as trash or weed. But when he became an adult, everyone started calling him names like Spear Demon, or Blood Spear, Poisonous Snake. With his spear alone, he defeated everyone and shed so much blood, even when he was left alone. Our hero, who ends up being branded as a villain of the spear, only crawls around with worn-out rags. And his daily reward is nothing more than the same tasteless ration of potato. The only place he can really call home is the endless battlefield. When the scene changes to the present, Suji walks towards a group of weaklings with blood dripping from his spear. The soldiers sent to attack him freeze with fear because what they see looks less like a man and more like a demon walking right towards them. Some even pee their pants while shivering. Their commander tries to keep them together by shouting that he is just a single enemy. He shouts for them to charge, and the whole pack throws their spears at our hero. Suji jumps high into the air and, with a merciless blow, drives his spear straight into it. On the commander's head. Seeing their leader fall causes the rest to panic, and although they swing and stab in desperation, each one ends up like another corpse on the battlefield. Our hero somehow survives the collision, but his body is stabbed with countless arrows, piercing through him. The rancor and curses of those he has killed weigh heavily on him, until he finally collapses and dies. In his fading thoughts, he wonders if this was always meant to be this way, or if fate just failed and betrayed him. However, the story doesn't end there because instead of vanishing, Suji finds himself reincarnated and thrown into the past. He finds himself standing in a forest and quickly realizes that this reincarnation did not drag him back to the helpless stage of a baby. When he looks in a mirror and sees his teenage face, he makes sure that this is the time when he worked as a simple errand boy. Just then, she hears some noise and moves towards him. He discovers a caravan being attacked by forest bandits as the people of the Howling Tiger escort office struggle to contain them. Our guy feels upset because he is forced to enter a battlefield at the same moment in which he is reincarnated, and just then, a huge figure appears from behind. The oversized bandit asks if he is the escort master in charge of guard duty. Suji looks at him directly and notices his trembling eyes, which makes it obvious that, like most of these forest pests, this one is also an amateur. Sweat rolls down the bandit's face as he nervously shouts that he will massacre everyone from the escort office before charging. His movements are too predictable, and Suji instantly takes his spear and sticks it straight through him. It may be true that our boy has lost the glory of his past war exploits, but his martial arts remain. And for him, that alone is enough. He remembers how everyone used to despise the martial art he practiced, calling it the demonic martial art technique. But there is nothing he can do about it, since it is the only state what he has. Carrying a bandit strung on his spear, he keeps walking forward, until another jumps up with a sudden attack. The second bandit smiles smugly as he thinks his hit has landed, but his satisfied face doesn't last long. For celebrating too soon, pay the ultimate price with his life. Suji mocks them for thinking that sending two measly bandits could work as an ambush, and without hesitation, adds this one to the end of his spear as well. After skewering the bandits on his spear, as a barbecue prop on a stick, he finally feels the heavy weight of the fitting weapon. Perfectly to your taste. When he hears the name of the office, he drags his mind back to the old days. As he calmly walks through the group of bandits, each of them feels uncomfortable and nervous at his sight. Just then, a huge guy steps forward and loudly declares that he is the leader of these forest bandits. Suji only gives a simple smile, which adds fuel to the fire of the bandit chief's temperament. The furious boss charges at our guy with a wild cut. However, when Suji dodges him easily, he teases him for acting like a cowardly rat who can only run. Our guy gives the big guy credit for carrying such a muscular body, but then ridicules him by saying that this is all he has to show. After that, he responds with a single sharp blow, and that alone is enough to knock down the so-called muscular boss forever. The scene sends shivers down the spine of every bandit, and more than a few collapse to the ground in terror, calling our guy a ruthless monster. Meanwhile, the only comment Suji makes is that his spear still feels annoyingly light. To fix that, he calmly adds a third piece of barbecue to his spear. This horrible sight drives the bandits to complete panic, and they scatter while screaming that they have just witnessed a monster. At this very moment, the spear demon has once again returned to this world, and in the eyes of the fleeing bandits, there could be nothing more terrifying than such a monster standing right in front of them. Our guy is heading towards the battlefield, where the escorts are still struggling to fend off the bandits. For a short time, they seem to have the upper hand, until another oversized muscular bandit suddenly bursts in. Trying to act like a cocky, he loudly declares that he will show these bounty hunters their proper place. As he confronts the escorts, the lingering demonic spirits of his fallen comrades whisper to Suji. He is told that the man's name is Ego, and that he was once his boss. They even beg for their former leader to come and join them in the afterlife. Suji asks if this beast is really his fortress leader, and the demonic spirits confirm this, as they once again urge him to take the man with them. Our guy gladly grants them their wish without hesitation, ready to devour the whole of the former bandit boss. As Yuji calmly advances towards him, the spirits resonate louder, and begin to shout his name, Ego. The former bandit boss clearly hates being called that, but before he can even file a proper complaint, our guy crashes him to the ground. Fear consumes the former chief as his eyes rest on the corpses of his allies, still hanging from the spear. And the terror only deepens as their voices repeat his name, and demand that he join them in death. The man starts crying real tears, and the only thing he sees in front of him is a walking demon. When the spirits chant Ego's name for the third time, a strange demonic power arises from Suji, and a claw of darkness reaches out, slitting the bandit's throat as the spear swings. Every time a name is called 3 times in this way, Suji can send a soul directly to the underworld. That's exactly what happens to Ego when he gets dragged screaming into the afterlife. Our guy then thinks about how much time has passed since the last time he used this cursed ability, and with that thought, he sinks into old memories of the time when he was thrown on a dangerous exploration mission alone. Because I was still a rookie. His hands end up torn with cuts and dripping with blood, as he barely manages to climb a steep cliff while putting his life on the line. He remembers with bitterness how he was conned by those who promised that if they simply joined the army, their days of hunger would end. However, here, he suffers in the same way that he once did when he lived as a slave. Stopping near the edge to catch his breath, he tries to stabilize himself. When he gets up again, he suddenly feels a strong dark aura that swells from behind. He sees a looming shadow when he looks over his shoulder. The shadow has bright red eyes, and the terrifying sight almost scares the shit out of him. His mind scrambles, wondering if it's a tiger or some restless ghost, but he forces himself not to look, and starts to walk away as fast as he can. He tries to escape with the thought that this is something he should have never seen, and panic consumes him as he tells himself that he doesn't want to die so soon, at least not before he manages to get a wife. His inner voice is screaming at him with all its might, warning him not to turn around no matter what. Then, out of nowhere, a voice calls from behind, asking him what he plans to really achieve, after struggling so miserably all his life. The creature in the shadow ridicules his existence, saying that he is no better than some crawling insect. After teasing him, she persuades him with an offer to gamble, promising him the chance to get rid of this pathetic life, once and for all. Finally, Suji dares to look back, and demands to know how he could trust such words. The figure in the shadow, who looks like an old man hiding in the dark, comments that the boy has the nerve to respond like this. With a smile, he asks the boy his name, and when Suji tells him that it is Suji, the old man still seems dissatisfied, and presses him to answer again. Our boy tells him again, but the old man asks him again, and this time he shouts his name as his irritation grows. After the demon-eyed geezer hears the name for the 3rd time in a row, he closes the distance in less than a split second, and lifts the boy up with one hand. The boy worries because he couldn't even see the old man moving, and now he finds himself being strangled. The old man takes him as his disciple without bothering to give him a choice, and tells the boy that if there is someone he wants dead, He only needs his name to be pronounced 3 times. If he does just that, then no matter what the answer is, he will succeed in murdering them. That day, Suji is blessed with demonic powers from his master, who is seen as the image of evil in the martial arts world, and is infamously known as the blood demon Kofu. Returning to the present, while walking around brutally killing every bandit, he notices a strange thing. Apparently, his mind feels clearer than ever. He thinks about the demonic power given by Kofu, and remembers that the gift was incomplete, and that the roots of the power should sink into his bones and cloud his mind. For some reason though, it feels fresh and clear now instead of dull like it was supposed to be. Concentrating on her body, she wonders what has changed, and it doesn't take long to realize that the Mao tribe's breathing technique has something to do with it. He learned that technique as a child long before joining the army. He becomes confident that this method of breathing is what keeps his mind intact and preserves his calm and clarity, instead of the fog that should have covered his mind. Kofu had warned him that until he mastered the demonic power, he would not retain his sanity. And now that he's done it, he smiles with a quiet sense of accomplishment and wonders what expression his teacher will put on when he finds out about this. Just then, the members of the office approach from behind, offering their thanks for saving them from such a terrible situation. His commander, his Aika, the first-class escort of the Tiger Well sex, fixes her gaze on him with a nervous expression. I had seen him take down those bandits one after another, without even stopping to take a breath, and his very presence feels suffocating. Not wanting to let go of such a powerful ally, Aika politely asks if he would be willing to lend his strength to her a little more. Our guy instantly rejects her, saying that if she has nothing more to say, she's leaving. Aika quickly stops him, and presents him with a gold token, explaining that it belongs to the application office from the sex of the Tiger Well. With her, you will be welcomed as an honored guest wherever your influence reaches. Suji takes the token, while thinking about the Tiger Well sect. Their reputation for honesty is well known, but he also knows their tragic fate, as they will disappear in a few years. Still, he accepts her without hesitation. Aika then takes his subordinates away, promising to greet him again once his mission is complete, and telling him to relax for the time being. Before leaving, our guy borrows a horse without a hint of shame. However, he chooses the one who is notorious for his bad temper. Aika is worried as even expert riders struggle with that animal, but when she turns around, she sees him already sitting on it. To his surprise, the horse freezes in obedience, trembling so much that he literally urinates due to fear. Seeing that, Aika can only reaffirm what she already suspected, that the man in front of her is not an ordinary warrior, but a monster in human form. Her vice commander teases her with a smile, asking her if she has fallen in love with him at first sight. Aika's face turns red with anger as she looks at him, with her hand already on the hilt of his sword while threatening if he is tired of living. The group then changes the topic to Suji's spear technique, curious if he might belong to a renowned clan of spear bearers. But Aika quickly dismisses the idea, pointing out that what she saw was definitely not a martial arts style. He speaks from his experience that it was unmistakably a military spear technique. However, what worries her the most is how a boy of her age could show such mastery. He begins to suspect that Suji is the son of a powerful military family, perhaps traveling on a warrior's journey as many do, after finishing his training. Still, what leaves a deep impression on her is her nature. Despite being rude and selfish, he risked his own life to help them when he had nothing to gain. That mixture of strength and contradiction intrigues her, and she deliberately chooses to send him towards the Tiger Well sect. In his heart, he silently hopes that when he finds out about the sect's impending crisis, he will be able to intervene to save them from the evil Black Dao sect. Meanwhile, our guy is busy berating the trembling horse, demanding that he stop urinating. He threatens to cut him off if he dares to dirty the floor again. With that settled, his mind goes back to the Tiger Well sect, and a certain man named Aiko comes to his mind. He wonders where that guy is now, and what kind of trouble he might be in. Suji goes back to his memories, remembering the moment Kao Aiko became his first friend after joining the army. He remembers the tough early days when veteran soldiers bullied him, demanding that rookies like him serve him dinner before they could eat their own. Suji had boldly replied that he had never heard of such a rule, but the bully warned him that if he wished to avoid a beating, then he had better remember it from now on. Just when things were about to get ugly, Aiko appeared and denounced their deception, saying without hesitation that what the veterans were claiming was complete nonsense. He went even further by challenging them to take their portion as well, as he was new here too. The veteran bully turned red with rage at his defiance and tried to punch him. Elko grabbed a potato and threw it directly at his face, and with a mocking smile, told him to eat it if he was so hungry. Then, without holding back, he hit the veteran with a flurry of punches until the man fell, warning that next time he would break all the teeth in his mouth. Suji, surprised by her boldness, whispered that she should not interfere. Aiko hands him the potato and tells him that he must eat it if he wants to survive in this place. That sincere gesture marked the beginning of their friendship, and Aiko introduced herself as Suji's direct veteran. The two started talking, and Suji, who was then known as Koyoi, revealed his name before asking the veteran for his. His mind then shifts even further to the moment he was almost strangled to death on the cliff by the blood demon Kakofu. Aiko had come to get him and arrived just in time to see the terrifying scene. Without hesitation, he yelled at Kakofu to free Suji, threatening to fire a flare and call for backup if he didn't. Kofu smiled and let Suji slide off the cliff, sending him tumbling, which angered Aiko. The demon casually remarked that he had done as he was asked, so Aiko should be satisfied. Aiko was about to pull the trigger and fire the flare when Suji, barely holding on, stopped him at the last moment. Suji somehow manages to stop his fall by desperately clinging to an uneven piece of rock. He tells Aiko to leave without worrying about him. Kofu, however, makes it clear that he has no intention of killing either of them. Instead, he presents a dangerous proposal. If they bring him a rare herb that can heal his wounds, he promises to grant them the strength to survive in this ruthless world. With no other choice before them, Suji and Aiko reluctantly agree. From that day on, they became the disciples of Kofu. That's when Kofu starts teaching them about known beings. Like the unbridled demons, he explains that these creatures are born from human souls that fell into demonic corruption after being devoured by tigers. They lose their humanity and wander as corrupt spirits, eventually ending up as their master's loyal subordinates. Kofu then introduces his infamous martial technique, which he calls the art of the unrestrained demon. He explains that art follows the same twisted rules. It has 3 main stages called compression, tempering, and transcendence, with each stage divided into 10 levels. The first stage allows to release demonic energy as a torrent of water, while the second turns blood into poison. His teacher calmly adds that he is now at the 4th level of the final stage, where the ideas of good and evil no longer mean anything to him. After filling their heads with this nightmarish knowledge, Kofu finally clarifies his demand. He orders them to go out and bring him the herb he wanted in exchange for his teachings. His teacher then reveals the name of the herb, called 100-year-old snow ginseng. Aiko argues that such a treasure is beyond her reach and asks if her teacher can at least help them by opening the central channels they allow, in which he and flow through their bodies, which are called the Ren and Du meridians. To his surprise, Kofu agrees. Aiko quickly suggests that Suji be the first. He tells our guide to open his meridians and go out to collect the necessary grass, while he himself will collect herbs until it is his turn. To make his plan sound more convincing, he jokes that coming in second is always the hardest job. Suji accepts the idea without suspecting anything and leaves. The story then changes to his return, where he comes back staggering with his body full of arrows. He looks like a walking riddle, but somehow he gathered each and every herb. Hoping that things will finally turn out well, he crawls to his teacher's place. What he finds freezes him in shock. Kofu's head is far from his body, and the one who murdered him is none other than Aiko. His friend is also seriously injured and collapses on the ground. Suji runs towards him in panic and demands an explanation. Aiko says she knew from the beginning that Kofu never planned to let them live. The only option was to attack first or die later. Suji listens and realizes that this is the reason why Aiko sent him away earlier. Now he sees that Aiko's meridians are destroyed beyond repair. His friend had planned to take down the teacher, even if it cost him his life. Tears run down as Suji cries for him. Eiko laughs weakly and tells him not to feel guilty, saying that killing an old man was nothing to worry about. He then explains why he chose to save Suji. He confesses that he is the last surviving member of the tiger pet cult. Eiko remembers how Suji once said that the head and the sect lady were good people. From that day on, Eiko began to see Suji as family, since no one else had spoken about her parents so kindly. With his last breath, Eiko says that she is glad that she met Suji, and asks him to come if he ever gets the chance. His voice fades, and Suji can't do anything but watch his friend's life slip away. The story then returns to the present, where Suji is riding the skittish horse that seems ready to pass out at any moment. He swears to himself that he will never allow grudges to exist in this world, to which he has been sent back. The first thing he plans is to prevent the destruction of the clan, or at all costs. He also remembers how he just saved the Tiger Enforcement Office, which was acting as his financial backbone, and starts to believe that the future might already be changing in ways he never expected. Suji calls a man who is nearby to bring him information. The chubby man gets angry at being accosted so casually and tries to hit him, but Suji grabs him by the skull, like he's nothing but a melon, and tells him to start talking. Suji asks if the mansion belongs to the Tiger Well sect, whose leader is Kao Henan, and whose lady is someone. The frightened man admits that everything Suji says is correct. Suji then asks if his son's name is Kao Eiko. The beaten man denies it. Suji begins to wonder if going back in time has changed reality, although much of it still matches her memories. To make his warning clear, he grabs the man by the neck and says that if he finds Eiko alive in the cult, he will come back and beat him up again just for fun. The man panics and quickly explains that everything Suji says is correct, except for one detail. He insists that the leaders of the Tiger Pet sect do not have any children. Instead, they have only one daughter. Hearing this, Suji is shocked. He realizes the painful truth that his friend Eiko was actually a woman, even though he always treated her like one of the guys. This revelation leaves our guy stunned and refuses to believe what he just heard. Later, he still finds it hard to believe that Eiko is really a lady. To be absolutely sure, he thinks that he can definitely sneak into the Tiger Pet sect if he shows them the gold token. But that would completely ruin his plan to remain undercover. A few days later, he arrives late to his job at the Tiger Pet sect stables, where a chubby guy named Gutu Jun yells at the homeless guy. Yes, he chose to become a drifter for his covert identity. Anyway, Wu decides to punish him by making him clean up piles of horse poop for being late again. Inside, he orders our guy to feed the horses and take care of all the manure, making it very clear that it is still much better than living on the street. The guy asks him if he understood all that, and Bro stares into his eyes. He says that he has no idea what Wu was saying, and Wu realizes that he is suffering from end-stage brain putrefaction. Then he yells at her to take her job seriously, because the section leader really took pity on a guy homeless like him. Just then, a horse breaks through the fence and mercilessly bursts the man's knee. Suji wonders where that monstrous horse came from. That's when he hears an annoying laugh resonate in the air coming directly from the pompous young master of the Sao clan. Looking at Wu as if he was trash, the man orders the injured worker to feed his horse before he leaves. While the other stable boys are taking Wu away, he remembers that Eiko told him that the clan was involved in the disappearance of his clan, so he decides to start his revenge. Meanwhile, the leader of the Tiger sect, and Eiko's father, Kaganen, shows up and tells the Sao clan brat that he is much younger than he expected. Eiko's father asks the brat to state his reason for coming, and the vile scumbag replies with a creepy smile that he only has one reason. He wants to see his future wife. Hearing that, Eiko's father declares that he doesn't remember giving his daughter to the Sao clan trash. But the brat replies that there are already rumors that he will definitely marry Eiko next year. Eiko's father asks him if he spread the rumor himself to ruin the tiger's sexual reputation. And that makes Sao Tane laugh because there's no way he would do something so low just to get the hang of Eiko. Suddenly, Eiko arrives on the scene. While the guys are speechless by her beauty, she tells them to go find another girl to worship and to stop bothering her family. Taijun tries to threaten her and talks about the rumors, but Eiko stands firm with her father and makes it clear that she should leave. Because she can't even think about marrying him, Taein tells the girl that his family will go bankrupt soon, and so will his pride, and then decides to come back another day, since he has a brothel to attend. On the way out, her footman says that she is prettier than rumors say. And the young master says that is exactly why he can't stop thinking about her. She goes so far as to say that she has the beauty that entire nations would be ruined chasing after her for, and says out loud that it's a shame that she was born into the pitiful tiger pit sect for someone so perfect. Just as the two get back on their horse, the Sao clan brat grabs his leash and declares that it's time to go to the ladies' district. However, his horse refuses to move from his place. When the Achayan checks him, the horse foams at the mouth and falls to the ground, sending the young master to the ground as well. While the two wonder where the hell the stable boys are when they need them, our hero watches silently, unseen around the corner. He removes the liver from the horse with a technique that leaves no mark, so he will never be found out. He looks at the man from the Sao clan, who is responsible for Aiko's terrible fate. She told him that the Tiger Well sect was destroyed in a political battle with the Sao clan, and Tam was the one who was behind everything. Because of that, he came to hate her beautiful face, and came to burn it with his own hands. That absolutely infuriates our guy and drives him to start his revenge plan. Later that night, he walks the streets alone, until he comes to a farm tool store, with a huge 10 smeared on the doors. Our guy walks into the store, and the owner sitting inside asks him who he is. He introduces himself as Suji, but the owner replies that he does not recognize him. The drunk amputee tells him to find someone else because he retired a long time ago. However, Suji drops down on the table in front of him, and tells him to make a simple hammer, giving exact measurements down to the inch. That surprises the drunken blacksmith, who gets serious because a hammer with such measurements is not made for driving nails. And Suji coldly says that he never claimed that he was going to drive nails with it. The man then asks if he wants anything else, and our guy tells him to make a custom spear as well. Hearing that, the man taps a gun to his left, and says he will need a day to sharpen the leaf of his masterpiece. Our guy asks if he has something small and sharp too, so the owner breaks the table our hero is sitting on, revealing that it is full of steel spikes. He says he will take them all and come back to pick everything up later, but the owner questions if a homeless guy, as he can really afford it. He confidently tells her to try, so the man asks if he can bring back his dead daughter, and touches him, thinking he is a ghost. After making sure that he is not a ghost, the man tearfully tells Suji that he will surely be satisfied if he can massacre the bastards from the Black Dao sect who killed his daughter. Our hero easily accepts the request, so the man checks if he realizes what the Black Dao sect is, but our guy claims that there is no need to know who they are, as he is about to erase them from history. Having said that, he then asks the blacksmith if he has any poison and some work clothes. The crippled man asks him if he thinks absurd things like that really belong in a blacksmith shop, but still throws a berskin at him, in a jar filled with the so-called Mia of Clan special poison, which he never tasted. Our guy opens the bottle, and instantly realizes that the poison is third-rate, so he tells the man that he was completely deceived, but still takes it since he can find a way to use them, and says that we'll pick up the other items the next day. On his way out, he sees a large bone that the old man normally uses to deal with animals. He decides to take it with him for now until the weapons are finally made. The blacksmith thinks she's some kind of ghost, but he doesn't care because he just wants his poor daughter's revenge. Later, when he arrives right in front of the main base of the Black Dao sect, the NPCs try to stop him, but he quickly gets rid of all of them by hitting them hard with his huge bone. When he let half of them run away in his previous life, they came back later to bite him in the back. That's why our hero decides that he will not let a single one of them escape this time. After he calmly walks over the corpses of the NPCs he slaughtered, all the noise instantly causes the 4 elites to arrive on the scene. Each of the ugly warriors can't believe that the intruder is just a little boy, so they prepare to discipline him with a good beating for ruining his dream. Thinking he is just an ordinary brat, the 4 elites attack him, but to his surprise, not a single one is a match for him. He deals with the first guy by kicking his nuts up, then uses his fingers to poke the eyes out of the second one. Seeing this, the other two run towards him, but he quickly kills one of them by throwing the long bone right at his chest. After that, he finishes with the third one, but the last one screams that blindly will make him suffer a lot. Our guy thinks it's funny that all thieves get angry when someone is stealing from them. Ask why the guy is getting frustrated over such a small thing, because he's going to steal each and everything from them anyway. Seeing that, the bald guy is terrified and wonders who this monster is because he has never seen someone fight so ruthlessly. He thinks the kid is a monster because he killed everyone in the Black Dao sect with nothing but a horse bone. Seeing him in action sends a shiver down her spine, but she gathers her courage and decides to beat him up anyway. But our guy sends it flying with one clean blow. Half dead, the bald guy asks weakly who he is and who sent him. He tells them that the blacksmith has sent him to kill them all. Hearing that, the bald guy is surprised that they were destroyed simply because a crippled blacksmith sent a hitman after them. He then delivers the final blow with his massive bone, and after completely wiping out the Black Dao sect, our guy leaves and thinks to himself that now the payment for the guns should be covered with the deaths of the 4 elites. The scene changes to the main building of the Black Dao. A messenger from the Cao clan steps forward and informs the sect leader that young Master Cao Taiyan and his father are furious that their plan failed. Annoyed, the messenger insults the leader of the Black Dao, Zhu Yo, saying that he could have secured both the stolen goods and the rewards of the Cao clan if he had sent his men disguised as forest bandits. But the moment he mentions that they can't pay their tribute to the evil alliance, the leader of the Black Dao starts sweating bullets. Zhu Zhou breaks the table in pure frustration because the plan went wrong. And the worst part is that he has no idea who was behind it all. The messenger insists, telling him that he should have sent his elites from the beginning, but leader Zhou blames him back for not warning him about the tiger's sex level of security-minded. Upon hearing that, Scarface throws a death stare directly at Zhou, questioning if the old man really plans to put the blame on him. He looks the old man straight in the eyes and makes it very clear that his entire clan is finished if he fails by being second time. He screams again that Brat Cao won't be satisfied until he gets his hands on Aiko. That makes leader Zhou so angry that he gets angry and yells at the man to shut up. Suddenly, both men turn their heads towards the source of a loud noise. The cult leader can't believe that someone is at the entrance, when 4 elites were watching her. The two start sweating a lot when an unknown silhouette appears behind the door, and the moment it opens, 4 heads come rolling in like bowling balls. Both men are horrified when they see the faces of the beheaded elites. Seeing that, Scarface sweats bullets, thinking that the attacker might actually be a master of the Orthodox sect. Terrified, the guy claims that he is from the Cao clan and has no ties to the Black Dao at all. But that only makes our guy so angry that he bites his own lip until the blood flows. And then he spits it right in the Cao guy's eyes. Confused, the guy keeps repeating that he is not from the Black Dao, while his eyes burn bright red. You see, the blood of a demon arts user is so toxic that it acts like a poison. Our guy enjoys watching the Cao guy suffer because his blood probably burns worse than pepper spray. After that, Scarface becomes enraged and swings his sword at him, but easily dodges the blows, which are much weaker than those of the 4 elites. Then a bloody mist begins to rise from his gun. He activates his demonic arts, and Scarface instantly realizes that he is facing a demon. The man tries to swing again, but it forces him to jump back and gives him a clean cut right on his shoulder. That one punch has so much force that all that's left behind is a splash of tomato sauce on the floor. Meanwhile, the leader Zhou is losing his mind, seeing the enemy of humanity, an evil incarnation that goes far beyond the line between good and evil. He can't believe that one of those demons has come knocking directly on his door. The leader of the Black Dao knows that it is impossible to reason with a demon, but the old man has a backup plan. He has been secretly crawling the whole time Suji was fighting, and finally presses the button that allows him to summon the evil alliance. As he slowly sneaks away, our guy drops his name and makes the old man stand transfixed in his place. The old man can't believe that the boy is sane enough to talk, even being a user of demonic arts, making him wonder if Suji has already achieved mastery in his field. Observing the sheer level of control Suji has over his demonic energy, the Black Dao leader instantly falls to his knees and starts begging the master to let him live. Like every third-rate villain, he offers to do anything Dad tells him to. He tells Suji that he will be executed if he doesn't pay his offering to the evil alliance, and even dares to suggest that that might be a problem as well for Suji. Our guy is impressed by the senile bastard's quick thinking, so he orders him to give up martial arts altogether if he wants to live. Joe can't believe what he just heard, but our hero declares that it's the only condition to let him live. The leader of the Black Dao realizes that giving up martial arts is the same as dying, so in a last-ditch effort, he draws his sword and tries to fight back. However, Suji has already predicted that the coward would never have the guts, and swings his weapon the moment the old man pulls his flaccid sword out of its sheath. At that instant, the old man realizes by our boy's aura that he is not a master of the demonic arts. He is enraged that an amateur dares to make his greatness bow. Our boy smiles at the Xenophore finally realizing the truth, but he's glad that things turned out this way, because now he can deal with his enemy the old-fashioned way. Suddenly, the leader of Black Dao feels an intense pain that runs through his entire body, and wonders if Suji secretly did something to him. Our guy thanks the man for making his job fun, then sends the souls of the fallen black warriors of Dao to consume their terrified leader. I attack them savagely, and then try to attack him. However, he is no match for our guy, who dodges blows with ultra-smooth movements that the old man cannot predict. In his final moments, Joe realizes that those moves are built only to kill the enemy in mind, and thinks that no word other than demon could describe Suji. After that, he is blown away by a brutal push to the chin that sends him crashing hard into the wall. One of the documents flying around in the chaos shows evidence that the Black Dao sect was selling slaves to brothels and making mountains of cash out of them. The old man begs for his forgiveness, but Suji questions how many poor souls begged him in the same way. With that, he sets fire to the robes of the veg stories and lowers his bone of justice to paint a second bloody painting on the ground. After that, our hero consumes the soul of the leader of the Black Dao sect and gets excited to finally get a truly useful one. Just then, he hears faint voices outside the room. As soon as he gets out, he comes face to face with a group of armed men preparing to fight, and realizes that it's a long night and bloody waiting for him. The next day, at the Tiger sect, Wu tells the stable boys the good news that the entire Black Dao sect was exterminated, and its main building was burned directly to the ground. He explains that the Tiger Well was knee-deep in debt to them. So now that those pieces of junk are gone, there's no debt left to pay. The stable boys gain respect for the unsung hero who was behind it all, while Wu yells at our guy, asking if he's finally finished cleaning up the horse poop. Looking at his cold face, the fat guy starts spitting disrespect, and our guy even considers shutting him up with his gold token. However, he decides to hide it until the Sao clan problem is solved, and instead lets Gulo punish in any way he wants. At that moment, a soft voice telling the fat man to stop comes from the entrance, and our hero is impressed. When he sees the familiar face appear, she still struggles to believe how much prettier Aiko has become, as she compares her face from her previous life. She gives the fat guy a lesson to be patient with the new recruit, because he's just a kid. The fat man argues that he will probably run away after working a little, but Aiko says that every person has a destiny to fulfill, so the Tiger Well sect deeply values every person connected with them. Suji remembers old Aiko saying the exact same thing, telling the burly guy that they could get together again later and maybe get closer as a family. While Wu is upset about his lecture, she calmly tells our guy that he can come to her anytime someone bullies him just because he is the new recruit. His kind words completely impress Suji, because even though his face and voice are completely different, he still has the same pure eyes as before. With a big smile plastered on her face, our hero replies that she should also come to him if someone tries to mess with her. That leaves Aiko and the goons in the back absolutely stunned by what he just said to a noble lady. However, Aiko simply smiles back at him and gently tells him that he will remember. Later that night, our guy approaches a seemingly innocent pile of hay, under which each of his weapons is actually hidden. He puts on the equipment, grabs his gun, and sets off on his path to revenge. In the main building of the Sao clan, shoot through the main entrance like a ninja, so fast that the guards don't even suspect anything. With ease, he slips through the garden and drops the guard on patrol with a stab wound directly to the neck from behind. After that, the hitman casually hides the corpse in the corner, as if there was no obvious blood trail smeared behind him. Enter where two girls are sure that nothing bad will happen due to the tight security since the Black Taz incident came to everyone. Just then, Suji notices two guards, so he throws an iron blade at the foot of the first one and buries himself in his soul. As the man screams in pain and stumbles, Suji walks in the front door like nothing happened, and then completely knocks him out for good. Seeing the guy sitting around, the other guard who eats dry bread gets annoyed with the idiot who keeps orgasming. He gets no response, and that makes him so angry that he walks hard forward to bring his lazy comrade, who turns out to be Suji, in the guard uniform to reason. But before he even gets close, blood starts flowing from his eyes, and the man drops dead right there on the spot. When the other guards approach, they realize that he was poisoned, so they decide to interrogate the chefs and close the building. It turns out that this is not even Suji's final form, as it was all just a warm-up for him to try out the equipment that the blacksmith carefully gave him. With that done, he decides it's time to remove the Sao clan name from history. Further inside the headquarters, a guard complains that the excessive security after the black tea incident feels like an overreaction, and his friend agrees. But just then, our guy makes an explosive entrance through the paper doors and gets through their necks. Before they even realize what just happened, while climbing the stairs, a guard sees him in uniform and asks him to explain the noise downstairs because the teacher is sleeping. However, the guard gets confused when he notices that our boy wields a bloody spear instead of the usual sword. The others are quickly alerted when they see him get shot by the intruder, but they are also skewered before they can sound the alarms. After that, two more guards rush in, confused as to why the others don't know about an intruder already so deep in their territory. Like the guards before them, they also get a painful pedicure with iron blades scattered on the floor. After putting them out of their misery, he calmly goes inside the master's chambers. Upon entering, he instantly realizes that the head of the Sao clan is in a completely different league. Different compared to Black Tao's frontman Joe. Seeing the bloodthirsty boy, the old man teaches him to show at least some manners, and to knock before entering. At that moment, Suji tenses up, standing face to face with the bastard who killed thousands for his benefit, and makes Aiko's life a report, living fear no. The old man asks why he is visiting in the middle of the night, and Suji responds by asking if he is really Haoisi. The geezer doesn't like that snotty tone, and tells him to mind his manners instead, then asks where he's coming from. He thinks that our guy does not belong to any sects, and start going through all the clans one by one. Meanwhile, Suji evaluates him, thinking that this fight will be close, and calmly declares that he is from the Tiger Well sect. That answer baffles Yusi, as she can't believe the Tiger Well could raise a monster like this. The old man presses to know the connection between him and the clan, and Suji admits that he is just a guest. Yusi wonders if the guy is just a servant fighter, or even a stable boy. But then he shrugs his shoulders as if it doesn't matter. He unsheathes his sword, taunting Suji that coming in here is basically signing his own death warrant, then asks if he agrees. Our guy closes his eyes for a moment, thinking that it feels unreal to meet this man. In his past life, the old man enjoyed peace while quietly psycho-suffering and died. This time, he will make sure that things will go very differently. With that vow burning inside, Suji unpacks his spear and prepares for battle. He swears revenge, and the clash begins when he manages to block the old man's sword with his spear. That only surprises Yusi, who instantly takes a step back. With a cold look, he demands to know if Suji just used magic, and why he can feel the secret arts of the Sao clan emanating from him. Suji just returns the question, asking where he got that idea from. In his head, he knows that with his spirit power at the 9th level compression stage, he is standing face to face with this old monster. Both men then get energized as if they were in an aura cultivation contest, and Suji keeps his focus sharp, knowing that the real deciding factor here will be the difference in his experience. The two collide again, and the old man blocks an incoming punch, while admitting that it wasn't bad at all. But just like that, he stops the spear, sending sparks flying, and scoffs that cheap tricks like that won't make it. The wrinkled old man squints, wondering how Suji plans to fight with flames burning in his gaze, but bro doesn't even flinch in response. Yuzi freezes for a split second, and the spear hits directly through his face. But Suji does not relax for a moment, as only a few strands of hair fall to the ground with blood. Soaked in sweat, the old man mutters that he almost really died, as the blow slightly cut his body. Neck. He tries to downplay it, claiming that he also almost caught Suji, with the cut on his lower body. Our guy tenses up, knowing that it will not be easy, since he is facing an experienced veteran. Without hesitation, Suji throws 2 projectiles at him, but the old man neatly dodges it with his sword. He even dodges a bone being thrown at him, laughing like he's having fun. He says that he is dying to know who trained Suji, and even offers to take him as a disciple. But our boy doesn't believe it, as he can see that the old man is up to something behind all those words. Just then, Yuzi darts forward like lightning. Suji tries to retreat, only to run into a dead body on his back. He curses his luck as the old man declares that the fight is over. In a single movement, the sword plunges into Suji's chest, spattering blood all over. Everywhere. Keeping his grip firm, Yusi smiles, and says that it is admirable that the boy did not even scream. He strokes his non-existent beard, and adds that Suji is light years above his useless son. That's why he wants a strong girl around, so that the weakling can have children before he is. Throw the paw. Bro does not let that insult pass, and grabs the sword with his bare hands, taking the old man by surprise. Suji teases him, asking if he really doesn't know how much time he has left before he dies, but the old man isn't listening. He is too surprised that his sword does not move even a millimeter. His eyes widen wide when he realizes that Suji somehow stopped the blade with his ribs. Then he wonders if the guy really took the blow on purpose, to create an opening. Meanwhile, Suji makes it clear that he is not holding back. He says he will spell out loud and clear how many days this old man has left. He calls Sao Yusi by name, and the old man instantly starts to get out of control. Fear takes hold of him, but then he thinks about how absurd it is that a power like him is really trembling. Darkness creeps around him as Suji utters the name again. Yusi panics, desperately trying to free his sword. And when Suji calls him by name for the 3rd time, a demonic hand emerges, extending directly towards the old man. The old man bursts into tears, struggling even to form words. Then he lets out a scream from the depths of his lungs, as the demonic hands close around him. At that instant, our boy plunges his sword directly into his heart without hesitation. Juicy spits blood, demanding to know how a brat like him could use the attempted murder illusion magic. Suji coldly replies, saying that the old man may have fought in 1,000 battles, but for him, those were nothing more than a mode of training. He pushes the blade deeper, teasing that the real death battles are on a completely different level, especially the kind of hell. The one he had to crawl through. Compared to that, this fight doesn't even measure up. Panting in her last breaths, she made one last plea, asking Suji to forgive her son. Raising his hammer high, our guy mercilessly denies the request, and crushes his head like a tomato. Picking up the gun now dripping like it's covered in ketchup, he teases that Yushi will never get to see her ugly grandson in this lifetime. With the fight over, Suji relaxes a bit, thinking that he needs to recover before moving on. But just then, his senses are triggered by feeling that something is not right. Entering the inner room, he sees 2 freshly made cups of tea sitting on the table. Putting the clues together, he realizes that someone else has been hiding here the whole time. Without losing his breath, he swings and breaks the giant pot into pieces, exposing to a man terrified inside. The guy crawls back, yelling at Suji not to come any closer. Our guy slaps his face hard, thinking about how garbage-like this is the reason countless people had to die in the first place. He grabs the brat by the hair and teases his, asking him if all the riches and power really make him a hero. But the old man's son can't even muster up the courage to utter a single word. Getting no response, Suji coldly smiles and declares that he will make sure that this coward really becomes a shining star. Now, looking the coward straight in the eyes, Suji coldly declares that tonight he is going to be an idol. The next day, billboards flood the province, drawing crowds from all directions. The posters claim that since both the Orthodox sect and the Black Dao sect were corrupt, someone decided to play Batman and deliver justice. People on the streets are wondering what's going on, talking about how some unknown vigilante eliminated both the Black Dao sect and the Sao clan with ease. In the end, they shrug their shoulders, glad that the corrupt pests have been eliminated. Still, one question remains in the air. Who is the person strong enough to destroy such important powers? The scene switches to Wu, telling his comrades that he heard the vigilante call Yusi by name 3 times before knocking him down. This rumor shakes the workers, making them whisper that the vigilante could be the angel of death himself. Wu adds that in the end, the Sao clan master was reduced to tears, which terrifies them even more. Just then, a voice interrupts saying he's already here, sending the trio into a panic. Meanwhile, Aiko is absorbed in her thoughts about this mysterious vigilante who avenged the Tiger Pit sect. Even if those guys were trash, it feels a little bad celebrating their deaths. He wonders who this person could be and why he is helping his clan. Then suddenly, he realizes that Aiko once mentioned in a letter that a vigilante would come to the sect carrying a gold token. But Aiko doesn't remember anyone like that showing up. Just then, they pull the reins on her horse, and she comes back to reality, asking where she is. She looks ahead to see a breathtaking view of a lake that leaves her stunned. The girl turns to Suji and asks him how he knew she liked lakes. Our hero simply replies that she told him earlier, leaving her perplexed as she doesn't remember ever saying that. Our boy joined in her thoughts, remembering how she always talked about Lagos when she was feeling stressed. He takes out some herbs and lights them, letting the smoke drift down the lake. Aiko immediately perks up, realizing that it is insect repellent, the only thing she always needs when visiting the lake. With a cheerful smile, she asks if he was also this competent in his previous job. Connecting with his inner poet, Suji responds that when people treat him like family, he makes sure to take care of them in the same way. She pauses to process his words, and then says she won't dig into his secrets. Instead, he extends his hand and confidently declares that in the Tiger Well sect, everyone is family. That statement sends Suji to another flashback of the final moments he once shared with his comrade in his past life. Back then, Aiko revealed that she was the heiress of the Tiger Well sect, and our hero told her earlier that the master and his wife were good people. From that moment, she also began to see him as her family. Just then, a loud voice interrupts, calling the heiress, who is holding hands in public. The Big Mac and Dante frantically shout that the escorts have returned. Hearing that, she lights up with excitement as Yuji stands there hanging. Pulling his horse's reins, she quickly apologizes for interrupting the conversation, and invites him to the banquet later that evening. With that, she runs out, while Gluttony chases, asking her to wait. Watching them disappear, our guy finally smiles to himself, and admits that this life is not bad either. As Wu keeps running after Seiko in the background, time jumps to the banquet, where everyone toasts to the mysterious hero who ended up saving them. The teacher orders everyone to drink, until they can't take it anymore, causing a ruckus. Wild in the whole living room, our hero is quietly enjoying his meal. But just then, someone suddenly puts a heavy hand on his shoulder. Wu and his goons demand to know exactly how he got so close to the young woman. Annoyed, Wu gets impatient and even takes away all the food for premium until Suji finally releases the soup. At that moment, Aiko appears and angrily asks the idiots if they are seriously trying to bully Suji like before again. The thugs instantly make up excuses as they feel his cold death stare penetrating from behind. She finally gives up on them, and then gives Suji a hot dumpling, reminding him that he was supposed to tell her every time he was teased. Seeing how emaciated he looks, she gets angry and tells him to go straight to her if the fat guy is hogging all her food, and won't leave her anything. Just then, her father suddenly calls her, so she tells him to eat properly, and leaves with a quick smile. The three idiots start talking trash about our guy again, as soon as she leaves, and then follow the young lady's orders to feed him. Boo starts by shooting a boiled carrot at his head, but Bro just dodges it with a simple tilt of his head. The three idiots then go after him together to make sure he gets beaten up, but Suji casually chews the meat, while dodging the vegetables with ridiculous delicacy. Back with Aiko's parents, they are relieved that the escorts have returned. Heavy, safe and sound, and they thank the head escort, Suaika, for her efforts. She stays humble, and Aiko serves her to properly honor her excellent work. After that, he asks Aiko about the guest with the gold token, but Aiko tells him that he never showed up. Hearing that, she feels a little disappointed, because she wanted to thank the young man, who had a monstrous ability with his spear, powerful enough to destroy the forest bandits who were actually people. Muted in disguise. She wishes she could have someone like that to train her people, but Aiko tells her to relax, and just enjoy the party instead. She reminds the head escort that everyone can be so carefree and happy just because of her strength. So the lady decides to indulge herself with the special drink. However, that's when he notices a commotion in the distance, and sees the same boy wielding the spear from before. But our guy quickly instructs her to keep her mouth shut, and just one sharp look from him is enough to send the message that he does not want her to reveal her identity. The three idiots try to jump on him again, but suddenly, a grumpy man tells them to take some time off and stay quiet while he is enjoying his meal. That infuriates Goo, and he tells the homeless-looking guy to be thankful that the sect is even letting vagabonds like him eat here. Hearing that insult, the guy decides to teach Tavi an appropriate lesson in respect. But before he can, our guy intervenes before the man does any permanent damage. Mr. Homeless is impressed and tells her that she has a bright future ahead of her, with her surprisingly good skills. He then orders the gracious Big Mac to properly thank the boy for saving his life, and he leaves without saying another word. With that, he loudly announces that he is very glad to have dinner at such a good banquet, but he feels bad that everyone has to drink cold drinks on such an occasion. After he offers to warm them up, he casually places his fingers on the table and uses some witchcraft to warm up all the drinks. However, it heats them up so much that they instantly turn into steam and evaporate in seconds. The tramp flashes a smug smile as everyone looks at his ridiculous master-level power control in complete shock. Aiko's father asks the man who exactly he is next. After seeing that, so he drops the disguise and reveals that he is actually a debt collector sent by the Evil Alliance. Asserting dominance over the master of the Tiger Pit, he proudly introduces himself as Goryu, the notorious staff demon. Goryu was once feared as one of the twin demons, but after losing a battle, he changed teachers and took on a new role. Now his job is to collect the tribute from each sect, and those who don't pay face nothing but destruction. The boss looks at him and asks if this is the man that Aika gave the gold token to. She quickly replies that no, and that she has never seen him before. The demon with the cane casually pours himself a drink, saying that it's been a long time since he came here. His tone sharpens when he points out that since everyone is celebrating, they must have had something to do with the sect's recent troubles. The boss panics, but insists they had nothing to do with it. Goryu dismisses it, telling everyone to relax if they really have nothing to hide. Then he gets a little creepy and comments that Aiko is much more beautiful than the rumors ever claimed. She tries to ignore him, but he keeps insisting, saying that he heard that Sao was annihilated just because of his appearance. With a cruel laugh, he claims that such a stunning beauty was destined to overthrow a sector as well. Approaching, the demon asks what she thinks happens to impotent beauties like her. Then he does the unthinkable and spits her out, The demon with the cane mocks her by saying that humiliation is all that awaits her in her position. The boss finally explodes and draws his sword, demanding to know what he thinks Goryu is doing. Hinan boldly declares that if a fight is what he wants, then he will gladly give it to him. The demon with the cane scoffs. The boss is asking him if he really thinks he has a chance. The boss responds that he is fighting this battle not as a leader, but as a father, who has just seen his daughter being disrespected in front of everyone. He warns the demon to get lost, but Goryu smiles and offers to fight here and now. Just as the two are about to collide, Aiko screams and tells her father to put his sword away. Wiping the saliva off his face, he thanks the demon for the lesson and calmly pours him a drink. Goryu laughs at her, saying that it is pathetic to serve the same man who is harassing her, but Aiko firmly replies that she is not offering the drink out of weakness, only out of respect for a martial arts master. He gets cocky and asks if she is making fun of him, that he is a powerful warrior flaunting his weight. She calmly says that she is just talking honestly and pours him another drink. Goryu bursts into laughter and then clasps his hands together. He offers a fake apology to the boss for disrespecting his daughter, telling her to put the sword away. He leans over and whispers to Jinan that he's playing along since he's trying to save his face. The chief reluctantly complies and sheathes his sword. The demon with the cane leaves, calling Aiko sharp and joking, saying that he could make her his wife. Then he pauses as if remembering something crucial. Turning around, he says he can't leave empty-handed, which makes the boss uneasy. The demon with the cane quits acting and says he doesn't care if the sex was trashed. The tribute still needs to be paid. Closing the distance, he coldly demands that the boss return the kind gesture he made earlier. Hinan responds, asking if the demon is now extorting tribute from them. Goryu tries to laugh, but the boss responds with a question of his own, asking if he plans to charge the Namgang clan as well. That shakes Goryu, and he says he would die trying that there. Then he remembers that the Tiger Peck sect recently got rich, and suggests that they give condolence money instead. The boss asks for time to gather the funds and fix things. Goryu knocks on the table, and says that time is a luxury they don't have. Hinan covers his face with his hands, thinking that the clan is finished if they can't get the cash. And they can't even ask the Namgang clan for help. The only option left seems painfully clear, that they have to pay up and hope for clemency. Moments later, a heavy bag of gold lands in front of the demon. Hinan warns him not to touch anyone from his sect in return. Goryu says that he is not a monster, although he smiles to see that the boss seems willing to murder him, even while handing over the money voluntarily. The demon ignores him and throws a gold coin on the table. He tells Aiko to take it as an apology for the previous act. The girl bows silently without saying a word, containing her anger. Sliding his straw hat back, the cane demon turns to leave, joking that no one needs to escort him, since the moon is shining bright enough. Sometime later, the stable boys whisper rumors about the terrifying demon. The black-haired guy says that they were lucky, that they managed to solve the problem with money. At that moment, Wee Rump, clutching a sewn chicken in his arms, and demands to know where he is. The two idiots start drooling, thinking that Gyu's brought it for them. Hearing that, the fat man hits the floor, and blurts out that the food is only for Suji. She closes her eyes, sweating profusely, as she remembers the demon's words about Suji being her savior. Then he calls his knight in shining armor, wondering where he is. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Suji remains calm in the moonlight, cultivating time without worrying. Sometime later, Goryu walks away with his bag of stolen gold, looking satisfied, but then he suddenly stops. In front of him is Suji. The demon flashes a smile, joking that for a second, he thought our guy was some kind of monster. Recognizing him as the stable boy from before, he demands to know why he followed him here. Suji keeps silent, which makes Goryu warn him that if he seeks revenge, he better think twice. Since Aiko never took the bait, there's no revenge anyone can take. Suji finally fights back, asking if he ate crows for breakfast, then pounces on him head-on, demanding his money back. The demon just laughs, saying that the last person bold enough to spit out those words was the rogue knight king 40 years ago. Goryu dodges with ease and swings his cane, forcing Suji to take a step back. He pauses to admire the spear in Suji's hands, asking what it's called. Suji tells her that she doesn't have a name. Goryu clicks his tongue, saying that it's a shame since it's an excellent weapon, before revealing that his own staff used to be a spear. After the blade was cut, he started using it as a cane, since it was forged with solid black iron. He even jokes that if the blade was still intact, people would call him the spear demon. That sentence infuriates Suji. He declares that no matter what state he's in, he's still a spear after all. Then he twists the knife, mocking that it suits Goryu perfectly since the demon itself has been chipped off. The blow wipes the smile off Goryu's face, and he starts cursing Suji up and down. But in a sudden flash, Suji bursts forward, and almost splits her face in two. The demon with the cane says that only a coward would give a cheap blow like that and charge headlong. He pushes his cane like a spear, but our boy is different. He uses the bridge itself to unbalance the demon. Without wasting a second, Suji pulls out a set of ninja stars and throws them at her. Goryu claims that he is even more cowardly than he thought, and pushes them away with ease. However, our hero is not finished yet, and spits poison at him, aiming at the guy's eye. The demon with the cane throws his head to the side with a smile, calling Suji stubborn for being a pushover. Swinging back, she teases him, asking if the brat still resents the previous incident. Suji suddenly bursts into an elegant spinning combo, catching the dripping poison with his foot mid-movement. With relentless precision, he then proceeds to land his foot squarely in the demon's face with a devastating blow. The demon with the cane staggers back, his face sparkling from the poison as pain twists his features. He wonders where the hell this came from, but then panics when his vision becomes blurry. Goryu swings his cane wildly, but Suji simply steps aside and gives a blow to the demon's legs. The demon barely avoids the blow and jumps backwards on the bridge. Holding himself upright, he admits that he severely underestimated the Tiger Pit sect for producing such a beast. Still, he grumbles that it doesn't make any sense that someone like that was raised. Suji's fighting style is nothing refined, and he simply treats his entire body like a weapon. Getting serious, he directly tells our hero to receive these hands, and starts charging. Falling into a fighting posture, he swears that he will drag our guy straight to hell himself. Suji doesn't even flinch, he just grabs his spear tightly. He puts himself in a battle position of his own, and mocks the demon by saying that he could be Mr. Charlatan. The two of them lock into a deadly stare in complete silence. The instant a leaf falls in sight, the two burst forward at full speed. Their weapons collide with a violent force, causing a huge ball of purple light that illuminates the bridge. Out of nowhere, an arm breaks free and falls to the ground with a red splash. Suji remains silent while the demon with the cane starts laughing. He teases by saying that losing his arm was a high but necessary price. His cane has already passed cleanly through our boy's chest. Still clutching the gun tightly, he loudly declares that this fight is his victory, while our hero remains motionless.